welcome to The Curling Show, the podcast that brings you interviews with the sport's top athletes and the people who shape the game. I'm Dean Gemmel, and in this edition, we talk to a junior curler who's made a ton of great shots and a bit of history. 2006 Canadian and World Junior Champion, 2007 Canadian Junior Champion, and I believe the first junior curler to be on this podcast, Charley Thomas. Welcome to The Curling Show.
Hi, thanks a lot.
First, congratulations on repeating as the Canadian Junior Champion, but after the game you said it's just unbelievable. I never thought in a million years I'd have this chance. I'm so excited. You know, Charley, from a guy who's already competed pretty well against men's teams this past year, you don't really expect us to believe that, do you?
Yeah, I mean, 3 years ago I was sitting at home and I just lost the provincial semifinal, so if you were to tell me that the next 2 years after that I would have Canadian championships under my belt, I definitely wouldn't have believed you, that's for sure.
So it's more of a process, a 3-year process you were surprised by, not by the result of last week.
Yeah, exactly. I don't really think that I was surprised at winning the thing, but just to have it all come together and see all the hard work pay off was really something special.
Last year at the Canadian Juniors, your team got off to a slow start, and then tragically, lead Kyle Reynolds' father passed away during the event. That emotional roller coaster ended with your victory in the final. Now, even though you needed an extra end this year, did this year feel almost routine?
Yeah. I mean, we knew exactly what to expect going into the final, and we ran against a hot team at the beginning of the game, but we just kind of drew on our experience and knew that if we just waited enough, that the chances would come. I don't know. It was just such a wild ride last year that, again, we just knew what to expect this year going into the competition.
Speaking of that hot team you ran into in the final, impressive young group from PEI. Did you say anything to them after the final besides nice game?
Well, I mean, that's the great thing about curling is that we'd been talking to them the whole week, and we were really good friends with the guys, and we got to know them pretty well, and we would have been really happy to see them win, just as they were happy to see us win. And we actually went bowling with them on that night. So I mean, we were really good friends with the guys, and so they were happy that we won as well.
You know, it's interesting. There's more than a few players who've had a lot of success in men's curling who lost the junior final. Including John Kawaja. I believe he was playing with Graham McCarroll one year, and Wayne Middaugh with Peter Corner. Did you tell them that?
I didn't know that, so that would have been news to me as well as them, probably.
You're the first skip since John Morris to win back-to-back, and Kyle Reynolds is the first player since Brent Lang and Craig Saville to win back-to-back. Now, there's different ways to go when you go from junior to men's. John came right out and started skipping right away before playing third for Kevin Martin this year. Other guys like Scott Pfeiffer, Carter Rycroft, even Wayne Middaugh and Peter Corner played front end with experienced men's teams. Now, you did fairly well this year. You even had a semifinal finish on the ASHM World Curling Tour at the Point Optical Charity Classic in Saskatoon. I know you'll probably say you're focused on the World Juniors in Eveleth, Minnesota right now, but you must be thinking about next season a bit. What are your plans?
No plans yet. I'll kind of just see what comes along, but I'm a pretty versatile player, and I just love the sport, so to get on a nice competitive team at any real position would be great. So you'd
be less interested in skipping than playing with a really good team, or
no,
what's your thought?
No, I wouldn't say that. I mean, I know that in the next couple of years, I'd have a pretty good chance of competing at a high level if I was skipping, if I got a good team together. So I wouldn't necessarily say that. Again, it's just kind of what's put on the table and what comes around.
Yeah, you have a certain calm Yoda-like quality to you that I think will serve you well as a skip. Where did that come from?
I don't know. It's just something that I worked on in the past couple of years. I just found that if I portray a calm image, then it helps me to be calm myself. So yeah, it's just something that I worked on.
You know, getting kids into junior curling is always a topic of conversation. So many juniors start because their parents played, and that's a situation that probably needs to change in order to grow the sport. How did you get into curling?
To be honest with you, I was just watching it on TV one day, and it looked really interesting and looked really fun. As for getting juniors into it these days, I think it really just takes some enthusiasm and showing them that it's a great sport, and just showing them how much you love this sport. I know that I helped out this past year at Alberta Rocks, the junior curling camp here in Leduc, and all it really took was just, like I said, showing them that you really do love this sport and that it has so many things to offer, and the kids will come if you just put the effort into it.
What about your teammates? Did they curl because their parents did, or did they find it other ways as well?
No, that's the wild thing about our team is that all of them really, I mean, our two of them, my parents curled very recreationally, and the other one, his parents don't curl at all. So, yeah, I'd have to ask them how they got into curling as well, but it's kind of the same story as me.
Speaking of, Matthew Ing on your team is good news for a sport that could really use a bit more diversity among its participants as well. I think he's the first player of Asian descent to win a Canadian junior title. Does he take any extra pride in that accomplishment?
Yeah, he definitely does, and I know that he let us know that he made the front page of the Calgary Chinese newspaper last week, and he was pretty proud about that. So, yeah, I think that he takes a lot of pride in that.
Yeah, I think he's the first player of Asian descent since Brian Mickey won a Brier playing with Greg McCauley to win a Canadian title as well. And in a sport that too many people think is for their grandfathers, I think it's great to see.
Yeah, it is. It's awesome.
I got to ask you, though, about another guy on your team, Brock Virtue. Is that his real name or a screen name given to him by some Hollywood agent back in the 1950s?
No, it's definitely his real name.
Where did that name come from? Brock Virtue. That is the greatest name in curling, I think.
It pretty much is. You'd have to ask his parents. His brother's name is Nicholas, so I don't really know where they thought of Brock. So
the last name helps, too, but anyways.
Definitely. All
right, Charlie, we end with a run back. You said you listened to the show before, so I think you know how it goes, right?
Sure do.
All right, skipping against an 11-year-old.
A bit nerve-wracking.
Yeah, young Thomas Scoffin there from the Yukon. That was something else.
Yeah, he played amazing against us. There was nothing that we could really do.
He's well positioned to set a new record for appearances, especially coming out of the Yukon.
Yeah, definitely.
Entering men's playdowns in Alberta next season.
Long, hard road.
It sure is out there, but talent helps.
Mm-hmm.
All those junior men and junior women curlers together for 10 days.
It's just unbelievable experience.
Curling in Korea.
Interesting experience.
You think you'll enjoy Evelyn, Minnesota more or less?
I'm not going to comment on that. Korea was an amazing experience, but the U.S., I know it's going to be a bit more familiar, so yeah, that'll be nice.
Right. And what kind of crowds did they have last year over there?
Well, for both the ceremonies, it was completely packed the arena, but for the round-robin games, it wasn't that full, and the finals filled up quite a bit.
And how big a city were you guys in there?
Oh, geez, I think it was about 600,000 people.
Oh, really? Okay, was that big?
Yep.
I don't know my Korean geography that well. I should brush up. South Korean geography, I guess. And last year's World Junior Women's Champion, Ludmila Privikova.
Not bad looking.
Very nice answer, Charlie. Good diplomatic answer. And finally, Team Kevin Martin's win in the Alberta men's final.
Ooh, good on them. I wouldn't say unexpected, but it really showed their experience, I think.
Yeah, boy, you really had to feel for Kevin Cooey and Blake McDonald, though. But, I like all those guys, but gosh, it looked tough.
Yeah, exactly. I thought that they for sure won. I was keeping up to date on the line scores, and once I saw that they're up 2 there after the 8th, it was definitely a shocker when I found out that Kevin won that one. So.
All right, Charlie, I give everybody this year a chance to name sponsors. I don't know if you have any yet, but let me know if you do.
I do, yes. Savile Group, League Pipeline, Opsco Energy, and Timtech Design.
Are there any good teams in Alberta that Bruce Saville doesn't sponsor?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I need to get him to think about sponsoring a team from New Jersey. He'll be very excited about that, I'm sure.
Definitely.
Hey, thanks for being on the show, Charlie. Good luck in Minnesota. I'm sure they'll run a great World Championship, and you'll do very well.
Hey, thanks a lot, Dean.
That's Charley Thomas on The Curling Show. Thanks for listening. Lots of great curling underway right now. Enjoy it all.
Saw class screaming, Jim beaming, no 2 grains of sand are alive. Sow the seed, reap the speed, angel's wing on a Chinese kite, yeah!